Stop right there. Yeah, you. If you like all things entertainment, current events, or Hollywood, then look no further. Creator to Creators, hosted by director Meosha Bean of Horror Noir, interviews filmmakers and creatives from around the world. Join in on the fun, guest celebrities, and informative information to have as a creator. Hit subscribe and stay connected to Creator to Creators.
Hi, guys. Welcome to another episode of Creators to Creators today. Today, we have a special guest.
Joaquin Elizondo.
Beautiful. What a name. That's gorgeous.
Thank you,
They're
thank you.
really nice. Do you know the meaning of your name?
No, good question. I do not. But I can tell you that when I was a kid, I did not like my name.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't like it. No,
It's
I
so
wanted to be
cool.
like Jose. But now, actually, I really appreciate and dig my name.
It's really nice. It's really cool. So I love going to the beginning. I always say the things that we, like the things that our habits that we pick up when we're kids kind of follow us when we're adults. Um, and it kind of is a part of our story, our journey, what we're doing now. So tell me a little bit about your childhood and, what was that like? And kind of how did you find your way into the things that you're doing now?
Yeah, so I grew up in a very interesting part of the world, in the Tijuana, San Diego border region, right? So I was born on the U.S. side in California,
Nice.
Southern California, but grew up in Tijuana, in Mexico, across the border.
Nice.
And pretty much commuted back and forth for for many years, going say to school or to work, right? Living in Tijuana, but then going to school or working on the U.S. side. So that meant that as a kid, I had access to a lot of American movies and music, right? Because all the you would get all the radio stations from across the border from the U.S. side.
Yeah.
So it just had always, again, just access to all this American media. So for me, yeah. So from the get go, since I was a little kid, I always loved the movies. I mean, I grew up with obviously like the big blockbusters, like Jaws and E.T. and Star Wars, all that. So that I think sparked my interest since I was a kid. Honestly,
I love.
um, I was always a very curious child, I guess. I always liked to see how things worked, and I was always also very interested in technology. And I grew up in a household where there was a lot of cameras around. My grandfather and my uncle were photographers, and so they always had a bunch of gear, and they were into music, and my uncle had a lot of mixers and stereos. I mean, I always just liked messing around with them. Probably broke a lot of their stuff. They weren't too happy about it. But again, it was I always wanted to see how things worked. Always just hitting buttons and this and that. So that's certainly something that I still carry with me to this day, in the sense of that I'm just always very curious, asking people how they do things, and that's how I learn.
Ah,
I learn by just watching. I think I always have. And so I think for the most part, actually, just having this conversation with someone about. I learned a lot of stuff on the job. Say when I started working in local news in San Diego, when I went to college at the University of Michigan,
yeah.
and studied film, but it was very theory based. So basically meant that I had to watch. We watched a lot of movies and wrote a lot of essays. And I was like,
Nice.
I just want to play with the gear. You know?
Yeah.
And so that didn't happen until I went back to San Diego, started working in local news. And then that was where I, got my hands on cameras and, editing software and audio. Literally that was my other kind of film school there at that TV station, because I did everything, everything.
Nice.
And
That's
so,
so cool.
yeah, so still to this day, that's why I think I can do so many things, because I learned. That's where I came from. I just learned everything.
Do you
You
miss
know,
it?
I do not miss it. No, no, I do not. I'm very happy. My dream was always to work in film and scripted TV shows.
Yeah.
I absolutely love what I do now, and I have an appreciation in this case for news, but I do not miss it.
I can't imagine. Like it, I mean, I don't know. I guess it's a secure job, right? It's you're always going to be going into work every morning. I guess it's like soap opera actors. Most actors don't want to do soap operas because at least that's what a lot of my actor friends say. They're like, yeah, this means you're not going to be an A-lister. I'm like, well, at least you're employed, you know?
That's a good point. No, I get it. And you know what? Yes, that's true. And like, what I realized, like when I started there in local news, right? And the only reason, like, I went back to San Diego and I didn't know how to. I wanted to work in film,
Yeah.
and I knew people were doing that, working on that. I see the credits, on films, but I was like, how do you get there?
Yeah.
Right? Even though I was in San Diego, it was like 2 hours away.
Yeah.
But I kind of fell into that kind of my comfort zone of just like getting a staff job and working, right? But I became unhappy pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And the thing is also, what again, I appreciate, journalism and whatnot, but like, I just had other ideas and like, I wanted to be creative in a whole different way. And and it just, that wasn't like, it wasn't like, I guess, yeah, that wasn't the space to do it. Like the things that I wanted to do and what I was doing, like, it was like, no, man, like, you want to cut the black? Like, what do you mean? I was like, yeah, but it's so dramatic. We don't do this in local. I'll never forget that. And it's like, man, this is not, I don't belong here.
You're like, this is not my place.
No.
So you realize that and you're like, all right, so now like what's next? Like how do you know like because I love that, the journey of getting to where your purpose, where you are, the place that you really thrive in. So you realize that okay, this is not for me. What do you do next?
Well, that was the thing. I spent many years. That's the thing, like getting to say now doing what I love, right? It took
Yeah.
me, I mean, I say like 15 years. And that
Wow.
was like me kind of self-doubting, a lot of self-doubt, a lot of fear
Mm,
of like taking that leap of like,
yeah.
in this case, going to LA, right? I had a secure job in San Diego and kind of leaving your comfort zone, honestly, and like going into the unknown. Um, but eventually I did it. And actually took the long route to LA because I quit my job in San Diego after like 10 years of like
Wow.
thinking about it, honestly. And finally I quit my job in San Diego when they quit my job and I went to Southeast Asia
Wow.
to travel, just backpacking. And then I moved
I love
to,
that.
that was the best decision ever. I was terrified, but I left my job and then like I went to New York City
Mm,
and I'm like, all right, no contacts, nothing. I'm just gonna go out there and like, and I don't even know if it was like really like trying to find, say, like film opportunities. It was just more like, I want to look for just bigger projects to work on, like more national kind of stuff, Um, and so again, like obviously though, I kind of fell into that trap again of like, which is finding work to survive and just getting, taking a job because they offered me a good rate.
yeah.
And so I fell into that trap in New York City, though, working on bigger projects, but still like kind of news and just doing things for money and not
Mm,
following like what I truly wanted to do.
right.
And that wasn't until I got to like LA eventually. Again, moved there with no job, nothing, just got there. But I was like all confident. I was like, oh yeah, you can do it in New York, you can do it anywhere. And I get to LA and like that was not the case. LA was hard,
Yeah.
tough.
Yeah.
And that is when I said, all right, I'm here. And I'm actually here in Hollywood. Like, I'm not getting any work. I'm not doing anything. I'm going to figure this stuff out, figure out how to, break into the film industry. And I did. And pretty much it took me like kind of revamping my entire resume.
Love that.
And I remember like meeting really successful filmmakers, and they told me actually met Cameron Crowe and Joy McMillan, who she's a
Nice.
you know, Oscar-nominated editor. They both told me the same thing at different times. It's like, don't make it about the money, right? The money will
Yeah.
come later. Like, focus right now on like meeting other filmmakers, getting that experience. And so, yeah, that really hit me. And like, I started working on low budget, like indie features where like I could not pay my rent, but I was so happy because I was working on like films, right? And I was like, yeah, I can't eat, but whatever. Like, this is great. And I started building those contacts, that resume, and eventually got on my first big break was like Narcos Mexico, and then the rest is history, I guess.
That's amazing because like I really feel the same thing. Like when I left Florida, I was like thinking, you know, because it's like you're you don't it's that fear of like what's gonna happen, but like I you just have to go for it, you know, taking a leap of faith. And it's like really just stepping out. I think everything else will align itself eventually. Eventually. It's like watering a seed, right? Like eventually something is gonna it has to happen at some point.
Yeah,
So
like I said, eventually, yeah. No, first of all, yeah, you have to take, you just have to go for it. You have to close
yeah.
your eyes and jump.
Yeah.
I think that's the, I mean, for me at least, that was the hardest part. Again, it took me like, 10 years to say like, all right,
Wow.
I'm leaving. Like 10
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
And so, but I guess, once I did it, and I remember again, I was like, when I remember like getting on that plane or waking up that morning, I mean, beyond terrified, right? But then it's like, oh wait, I'm okay. Like I didn't die, or I don't know, whatever you think is gonna. I don't know what you think is gonna happen.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. And then it's like, wait a minute, this is pretty great, and
Yeah.
it's exciting, it's thrilling, like and it's like, oh my god, this is awesome. And then yes, eventually, yeah, I agree. As long as you keep at it, like things will fall into place, and it might take longer for other people. It may
Yeah.
happen sooner for you. Who knows, right? Everyone's journey is different, but
Mhm.
yeah, I like kind of trust the process and like, but like just keep at it. You
Yeah.
got to put in that work, right?
Yes.
That's the thing. You got
Absolutely.
to keep at it. But I do think like, yeah, eventually things will happen for you, for all of us.
I love that. I mean, and now like you're on an amazing Netflix show. So when you got that job, what was that feeling like when you got that
Well, when I,
opportunity?
I'll start with Narcos Mexico, because I remember like, first of all, I was a huge fan of the Narcos Colombia, right? I mean, I was like a
Yes.
huge fan.
Great show.
Yeah, and so when I got this opportunity, and again, it happened just by, I mean, there's a story behind it. It's just by chance. I don't know. It just like one day I get an email from someone uh, wanting to ask. They wanted me to provide them our researcher's name from this other project that I was working on. Can we get your researcher's name? I'm like, yeah, sure. And I'm like, oh, this producer from Narcos back. I'm like, and I give him the name, and I put PS. Oh, by the way, if you need an assistant editor over there, let me know. And he's like, well,
Yeah.
do you speak Spanish and are you in the union? I'm like, yes and yes. He's like, well, why don't you come meet me on Monday? And then that was that. And I was like,
I
what? And I
love
walk into the
that.
office, and it's like I see, like, I remember, I'll never forget it. I see pictures of Diego Luna and Michael
Yeah.
Pena, and I mean Diego Luna. I mean, like, and Michael. I mean, they're just some of my favorite actors. And Narcos Mexico. I'm from Mexico. I'm like, oh my, this is
It's like a
oh,
crazy it's full circle, right? Like,
it is. It is. I mean, it was literally a dream project. And then like then eventually, landing that job, becoming then an editor there, and but more than anything, meeting the people on that show are some of my dearest friends,
oh, I
and
love
it
it.
was like going to work every day with your friends and creating
Oh,
this awesome show.
yeah.
Like, I mean, that to me was like that. This is I made it.
Oh,
Honestly, I mean, this is great.
I love that.
And so that what is then, of course, then led me to Griselda, right? Because it was produced by the same team. So, um, and that was another dream project, honestly, to work on.
Yeah, and it's fantastic actors. I mean, it's just freaking epic. And I was just when I saw the trailer, I was like, no way, is that really? No way that but I couldn't tell like from just all the work, like the makeup that she went through to put it like to be the character. I love when an actor can like transition completely different and you don't know who it is until you look at the credits. Like, no way, that's not Sophie. There's
Yeah.
no way it's not Sophia. But she killed it. She killed it.
She killed. I mean, she killed it. I mean, like, she was amazing, and that was the thing. Speaking of like the makeup, I remember seeing the first day of camera tests that we got. Opened up the Avid, and we had the footage, and the same thing. I'm like, is that her? I was like, that can't be her, because the makeup was even back then was different. Like it
Wow.
was. I mean, it was like. So I was like, oh man, this is gonna be great. But even before that, because I started hearing about Griselda, back when I was working on Narcos Mexico, there was already talks about, like,
Nice.
when I heard like Sofia Vergara playing Griselda Blanco, I'm like, what?
Wow. Yeah, yeah. It doesn't
Because it's
compute.
because, like, Sofia known for her role on Modern Family, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And it's like, man, I was like, I want to be a part of this. It's gonna be great. I mean, like,
That's so cool.
yeah. And
That is
so,
so cool. Um, I love asking this question, and there's no wrong answer, but three levels of influence: money, power, and respect, right? If you could choose one of those things, which one would you choose and why?
I'm big on. I think yeah, I'm big on respect. Uh, yeah. Um,
Love that.
I just, I actually was having this, this conversation recently about relationships, and I'm just like, yeah, I think it really boils down. I think it's really about like respect, I don't know. That comes from my upbringing, I suppose. I was just taught to be, respect my elders, and I'm old school kind of that way. And so, yeah, because thinking about like, talk about like money, for example, right? And I was telling you, how for many years I was just taking money or jobs for money, and that it just paid me a good rate. And that's one thing I realized in New York, because I was in New York, I had a very successful career. I was making really good money, but it was not making me happy.
Wow.
Honestly, like you
Wow.
just couldn't pay me enough, you know, to be happy at what I was doing. And again, I have excuse me, total respect for the projects, the people I work with, but it was just not. I realized that's when it really hit me. I'm like, yeah, you can't just the money is not going to make me happy, honestly. And even I think till this day, honestly, yeah, sure. I mean, it's great having money, right? No doubt about it. That's a lot of flexibility, but yeah, I still believe in the art, and that is what working on a good project, and people that I respect and they respect me, and we find that that be able to collaborate on a project and share ideas. That is, I think, for me, what I look for now,
I
honestly.
love that. Yeah, I was gonna say, like, has there been any challenges even working on that show as far as like, trying to figure out like, okay, how like you're not sure what to do. And I'm sure there's deadlines, but I mean you figured it out.
Yeah, well, the thing is, again, the fact that I had a relationship with the Narcos team. I had worked with Andy Baez, the director, before on Narcos Mexico. So I think you just come into it. It's different when you have that type of relationship. I
Mm,
think that you just feel more comfortable, you know, sharing ideas or trying things, right? Because again, you're just more like friends,
yeah.
and so
Yeah.
it kind of takes the pressure off.
Yeah.
Were there challenges? Yeah, of course. There's always challenges, right? But you just kind of, I guess, feel you quite kind of quickly get to a point where you can just start addressing maybe those challenges and providing solutions or crazy ideas, right? And that was the thing, like with Andy, he always pushed us, the editors, to just like try things. And we had a lot. And the thing is, we had a lot of time. We spent
Good.
about a year in editorial.
Nice.
So I mean, which is I mean, just a huge luxury, and I mean, it's unheard of. I think for the most part, like on a TV show, and
Yeah.
this was treated more like a feature film and like a 6-hour film, and
Wow.
uh, and we were just trying things, and he wanted to come on, push it, go, 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 and if it's crazy, we can always dial it back, right? But that was like that's what having again this relationship with Andy and that team, it just made it a little bit easier.
Cool. How do you approach like, different projects when you get something that comes to your table and like, look, what's the first thing that you like your process when it comes to figuring out like the tone and the pace and all of that? Like it's a lot that you have to do, but I'm just curious of your process.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it starts with the script. I mean, I
Yeah.
get the script and I read it, a couple times,
Mm,
and I start making notes, and both mental notes and like on a little and writing them down right on the
hmm.
script.
Hmm.
And I think my right away, I go to other projects, other films or TV shows. Right, I start kind of my mind just kind of goes there. Oh,
Yeah.
this reminds me of this, or uh, you know, uh, I think about like the sound design. What sounds would I use here, or what music from this one film was cool, or like, or just a film that or sorry, a music track maybe that I could incorporate. Um, so yeah, I think I start to reference a lot on my own, like other projects before even talking to, say the showrunner or a director. And it's really interesting when like you go to the interview and then you realize that you're thinking about like the same references maybe at times, and it has happened. It's like, oh yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Oh my god! So it's like, and then right there, and that's the thing. It's like if you do get there, it's like, oh yeah, I think I want to like you see that connection, and you're like, all right, we're on the same, kind of on the same frequency here, same vibe,
I
and
love
hopefully,
that.
they hire you, you know.
Yeah.
But that's
That's
where
so
it
cool.
starts. That's where it really starts for me, you know. Um, and I really start. I really start thinking about what the scenes are gonna look like and sound like, and the pacing of it, and it's just that really just comes from a feel, you
I
know.
love it. Yeah.
From like just literally reading something, it's a feeling, and then obviously when I start getting dailies and footage, sure that might change, but it's like that initial kind of first instinct. It's like, all right, this is where my mind goes from just reading the script.
That's so cool. Like you just it's like it's like it's just in you. Like you just trust that feeling of like I know what you mean. Like I think I feel that too when I'm on set and I'm, say I'm directing something. I just know what I'm like I just know what I want and it just works. Like I don't know. It's a gift, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's a sensibility, and in the end, it's like just being, I think a storyteller, and because like I look, yeah, I studied film, and I love film. It's not like I have like encyclopedic knowledge of film, right? I'm not like that hardcore, right? But I love, I don't know, I have a certain sensibility to telling a good story and emotion,
Mm-hmm.
and so you know and then sure, if I can reference again a film or whatnot, great. But again, it's not like I know every, I can go back and tell you like every single, film that was ever, made or whatever, who's worked on it, right? Not like that, but I mean, like, but I know enough,
Yeah.
And so, but yeah, I think it's more about it comes from being able to tell stories. I think again, going back to you asked me about my childhood. I think I've always been into telling stories, and I always like telling stories, like, to my family, and I was big into illustration. Like I like drawing. I always like
Nice.
to express myself creatively. So that might be a gift, man, maybe, yeah. But I guess I have like those certain sensibilities, right? And like read something, and my mind just starts going crazy, creating something.
I love that. That's so cool. So, are you working on anything? Like, do you do things outside? Like, do you do like your own kind of projects that you want to like put out? Are you creating other things besides television or things like that?
Yeah, back in actually in well, back in 2020 during the pandemic,
Ah,
I created a mentorship platform called Hollywood Editing Mentor.
nice.
You can find it at hollywoodeditingmentor.com. And I also created my own podcast, right? Because going back to my journey of say trying to not only break into scripted, but even going back to like say taking that leap of say leaving my comfort zone, right? I told you that took me 10, 15 years to eventually land my dream job. I decided to create this resource because for people who are out there trying to do the same thing, and it's not just film and scripted TV. It's just in general, who want to work in editing and post production, right? Because I've been through that process of like kind of again self doubt or being afraid to take risks, right? Commit mistakes or like networking. Like oh my god, like that is like something that I thought I had like that I knew how to do it like all along, but like
Yeah.
especially when I got to LA, was like, oh man, I'm doing it. I'm not doing it right. Like it's and there's a whole like way to do it, and there's a to master it, and but putting yourself out there, right? Like I think I've always been like, for example, very sociable, but like I can also be kind of shy. So
Really?
yeah, so no, yeah, and so but and I've worked on that like in the last couple of years, right? Because knowing what it takes in this industry, like you got to be out there, just telling people what you're up to and
Yeah.
promoting yourself, selling yourself.
Yeah.
It's like I better do this or else I'm not going to make it or have a long career. So, anyways, I created this resource where I you know uh, you know discuss these things. I have courses, but also share experiences. Right? I told you about like how I like to learn. I think it is about like sharing people's experiences, and that's why I
Yeah.
created my podcast. So you can learn from like all these much more award-winning successful editors, right, or filmmakers, to hear more about their struggles, their challenges they
Hmm.
overcome,
Hmm.
right? So that you can learn from that and apply that, say, to your own journey, because again, everyone's journey is different, right?
Yeah.
But again, I just knew, for myself, like the importance of communities, being part of a community, how that helped me out, and so I just had a kind of my own, like a vision for my own community, right? And so that's what I created with Hollywood Editing Mentor.
That's so cool. That's really, I love that. I love that. Just keep creating and staying out there. Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. Um, any advice to those, like, say, people that are trying to get in and do what you're doing? What would you say to
Absolutely.
that?
Oh, absolutely. Like, and actually, I just gave did a webinar about, navigating these times of change because, yes, the industry is changing rapidly with obviously media companies trying to figure out just a new business model. Obviously, AI. Uh, you know, things are changing rapidly, and so right now, it's I think more important than ever to be putting yourself out there and communicating to people what is it that you want to do,
Hmm.
what your goals are. Not only that, but also like who you are as a person. Like really saying, all right, this is what I'm into. These are the artists that I want to work with. These are the projects that I want to work on. Being more focused with your goals, and not so much like like kind of like me, like I did before. Like I was doing this year, documentaries here, talk show there, sports here. It's like, but I want to do film. Like so, I think now more than ever, things being so competitive now,
Hmm.
you have to be laser focused with what you want to do and put your energy into that. I do believe in manifesting,
Me too.
say things in your life, your career, and so really putting in that energy to your goals and what your dreams are, whether it be film, documentary, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
But and again, also the networking. Like I know people are terrified of that; it's not their favorite thing, but it's you got to do it. You have no choice, honestly.
Yeah,
If you
you
want to have
don't.
a long career, honestly, it just that's what it is. So if you have a problem, say with being talking to people or you're shy, like really find the help to get over that.
Yeah.
Make it a point because it's going to be tough to survive in this industry if you're the quiet one.
Yeah.
And the last thing I'll say is like the technology. You got to stay up to speed with the technology. Learn more skills. I mean, especially AI. I know it's a sensitive topic, but
Yeah.
you have to embrace it because it's here to stay.
It's here to stay. It's not going anywhere. You're absolutely right about that. Yeah, it's just a lot of people that they're like, I don't think it's a good thing. I'm like, well, it's pros and cons to everything, right?
Absolutely.
And I mean, I think instead of not embracing it because, like you said, it's not going anywhere. We should just kind of learn how to like live with it, you know?
I think it's important. And look, to me, I'd be honest. Yeah, and this is what like the last year or so, right? When we started hearing more about it. I mean, yeah, I was kind of a bit hesitant, but it's like no. I mean, like if I don't learn this stuff, keep up with it, I'm gonna fall behind,
Yeah.
And it's like right now, people are showing me like all these tools and whatnot. I'm like, oh my, there's so. I mean, I'm like, what is this stuff, right? Um, but at least I think it starts there, like just saying, all right, yeah, it's here and gotta get used to it and learn some of it. Be comfortable with that.
Yeah, definitely. 100%. Oh my gosh, it's so great to talk to you.
Oh, to you as
I'm
well.
just like getting this knowledge and just I just love hearing the stories of just the journey. I just find it so interesting, everyone's story. And yeah, no, you have a beautiful one. Have you
Thank
always
you.
been bold ever since you were a child? Do you know where that comes from for you?
You know what? Yeah, yes. I've always been like, yeah. Since I was a kid, I've been kind of always not necessarily like afraid to put myself out there. Like, I
Love
was
that.
always, you
That's
know,
beautiful.
the kid like dancing in circles, at weddings, and like I love making a show.
I love
Uh, so yeah, I mean, but I guess like, but still, there's something like there was maybe still is a bit of shyness in there. It's in there somewhere. Um, but no, I that's the thing. When I realized, I think when I took that leap, when I left San Diego, went to New York, it's like you get and you're like, and you realize that you're okay, right? And taking risks, you realize that you're capable of so much, and
Yeah,
that it was you yourself that was holding yourself back, right? Doubting yourself or being afraid to take these risks, right?
so
So
true.
it was for me very exciting to see what I was capable of, right? How much the potential that I had. And so once I saw that, I was like, all right, let's go. Like,
Sky's the limit, right?
sky's the limit, honestly, right? And
Love
so,
that.
yeah, and it takes work. It takes work, honestly, right? It just didn't happen like this. I mean, I put in the work, to get better, to improve. I do so many things to take care of my health and mental health, physical health, everything, and to always just become a better person. Like I do it day in, day out. So
Yeah. Do you feel like you found your purpose?
I think so. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I think I at least have I know what the direction to head in, right? Versus like, say, for example, in the past where I was just going like this way and that way and this way, right? So I think, it's like having a more focused, with my goals in my life, where I want to be. I know like the stories that I want to tell, the projects that I want to work on, creatives that I hopefully can collaborate with, right? And know that, yes, this is what I love doing. Like this is, I could not do anything else. And so I just want to get better, keep learning. I'm still learning more to be a better storyteller, and work on cool projects if I can. But more than anything, I want to work with good people.
Yes,
That's
absolutely.
what to me I think matters the most. I mean, like, it's like just working with good people, nice people, where we can respect each other, and collaborate and have cool, creative ideas, and just keep working on this, because again, I wouldn't want anything else. This is what I love.
I love that. Oh, what a beautiful, beautiful. I really enjoyed our conversation. I can listen to you all day.
No, thank you for having me. No, you're
yes,
lovely to talk to. Yes, no, this is
too.
awesome.
And thank you so much for coming on. Definitely come back again. Also, where can people find you on social media too? Yeah.
HollywoodEditingMentor.com, or you can find all my links to all my social media. You can find me on social media as Hollywood Editing Mentor, on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, everything.
TikTok? No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
No, you know what? TikTok is the one that I cannot get into.
Same. I can't do it anymore.
I have an account, but I stopped because I just can't figure it out.
Same. It goes over my head. I'm like, yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, exactly. No, but everywhere else I'm there. Hollywood Editing Mentor.
Cool. Well, thank you again so much. It was a pleasure. And thank you all for listening. And always remember to live, love, laugh. We'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.